We've gone over 700 days without a budget in the state of Illinois, and there's so many issues from our Constitution that are tied into the budget situation in our state. I've heard from many constituents and colleagues over the years that to really solve the big issues of the day, we need to address some of the issues in the Constitution. So I've introduced a joint resolution that would put on the ballot the idea that people would be able to call a constitutional convention. Hopefully on the 2018 ballot, we would be able to let citizens decide if they would like to have a constitutional convention. The last constitutional convention question was on the ballot in 2008. It's supposed to be on there every 20 years unless the General Assembly takes action to put it on the ballot. And since 2008, we've had over 400 amendments introduced into the Illinois General Assembly, constitutional amendments introduced into the Illinois General Assembly, calling for changes to our Constitution. So I think there's certainly the desire by the citizens and the people of the General Assembly to amend our Constitution. And one way to do that is through calling a constitutional convention. The last time we had a constitutional convention was 50 years ago. It was called for in 1968, and it happened in 1969 and produced the 1970 Constitution, our current Constitution that we're under. But it's certainly a different time since 1969. There's a lot of issues that we deal with today that we didn't have to deal with in 1969. There's things such as school funding reform. There's things such as people talk about a graduated income tax, about pension reform, about term limits, about redistricting reform, issues that really span the political spectrum from left to right. Those are the kind of things that I think we can really talk about in a constitutional convention. So Illinois had 6 constitutional conventions. We've had one called on each of our 50-year anniversaries. So on the 50, 150th, and 100th anniversary, I guess, we've had calls for constitutional convention, and next year will be our bicentennial year in 2018. I think there's really no better time to think about these big issues in our Constitution and put on the ballot and ask the people if they would like to have a constitutional convention to have changes to their governing document.